Today's video is going to be about working on carburetors on this, the second part of the work that I'm doing on this motorcycle. So I'm working on carburetors to get them more reliable and less leaky and less flooding. And so with that, we'll dive right in. Today I want to talk about carbs. I've got some experience now with them for my CB550K. Originally the carbs that were on it were pretty corroded, and when I started to work on those, the pins wouldn't come out of the floats, and I ended up damaging some of them by trying to punch them out without properly supporting them. And so at that point I knew I had an issue with those carbs, and I think I bought another set somewhere. Actually, those carbs are kind of in that bag and maybe over there. I don't know. I ended up with a whole lot of carburetors as a result of kind of the work to get this thing going. But I picked some up at a swap meet. I think I might have got 2 sets at a swap meet, and one of them was missing parts, and I think that's the one in the back there. But anyway, as I was going through, I built a set of carburetors, and that was this set. I had that ordered a carburetor kit for it and kind of assembled it. I actually took the bank apart, which is the first time I've ever done that, and you end up having to kind of resynchronize all the carburetors, get them back together, and do a bench sync so that your slides are all at the same place. But I built that set, and it had all new parts, and it should have been perfect. And I got it on there, and it ran, but it would only run on choke. And I'm still learning, I guess, as I go through this, and I didn't set the float levels on it. I figured that they would be fine, and they weren't. And so I think it was running lean, and so by choking it, it was being able to pull more fuel and run. And so in that time, I went through my kind of stash of parts that I'd been accumulating, and I found this set, and I thought, I'm just going to try those untouched and see if they'll work. And so I went ahead and I actually just moved the jets from the new jets that I'd gotten, the idle and main, into this one. Just made sure they were clean. I think I might have dipped them in the ultrasonic cleaner over there. I might have dipped them in half at a time and ran it for 3 or 4 cycles with nothing real. I didn't take anything apart to clean it, but they did. I got them on there and they worked, and they've been running good, and they sound good, but they're flooding on 2 of the cylinders, and so the bike does lean over a lot when you put it on the kickstand, and I think that's kind of I don't know if it's a feature of those bikes that they get more relaxed as they get older, but and I wondered if that might have something to do it, but if it seems like that all that would do would be to raise the float even higher and maybe cause that to stop. I've been losing fuel out of that tank pretty regularly, but I haven't seen any big puddles underneath when I do have the fuel off, so I need to probably figure out what's going there. But I decided to go ahead and that's one thing that I did do with these, is I did set the float levels. I just measured, I think it was like 22 millimeters from the bottom of the base to when I'm not sure. I'll look at it again, but I'm going to recheck it anyway. But as I was thinking about it, one thing I didn't switch on these was there's an O-ring around the needle and seat. I'm sure it's still the original O-ring that's in them, and so it's possible that your needle and seats could be working perfectly, and it could be leaking past that and continue to overfill the bowl a little at a time, and you could just be losing fuel. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to open these up. I may or may not steal the needle and seat O-rings, or at least the needle and seats out of those, to put in here, and then I'm going to reset the float levels, and that's kind of my goal for today. It's going to hopefully then I'll be able to reinstall them back on the bike, reinstall the new carb rubbers on here, and then put the clamps on and tighten them down and adjust the valves, and never have to touch it again, hopefully for a while. But that's maybe wishful thinking on my part. But anyway, it's just funny how many carbs I got. And I know a lot of people can use these, so I may think about getting rid of them. But at this point in time, I don't know. I'm actually half looking for another CB550 because I'm pretty happy with the bike and the way that it looks and the size that it is. So, all right, let's get into it. I've started reassembling the carbs. I went ahead and was unable to use the float or the needle and seats off the other carb. I wasn't able to get them out without scratching them up a little bit. They were in there pretty good with the new O-rings. And I really should have ordered a kit for this, but I went ahead and just kind of looked at the different needles and got them checking to make sure they're springing back, and I've started setting the float level, and so I've done the first one, and I thought I'd just go ahead and show you how I'm doing it. So it's a 22 millimeter height from the bottom of the float up to the base where the bottom cover goes. And so I didn't have I have something to measure that with, a set of calipers, micrometer, or whatever you want to call it, caliper. And it's clumsy to use, and so I made a small piece that I could use that was 22 millimeters in length, and so I just kind of set it against the body, and then I blow through a hose so that I can hear it when it starts to stop the flow of fuel. I don't blow too hard. I just try to do it kind of similar to what the pressure might be from fuel coming out of a tank. So then that's what I'm doing now, just going ahead and setting those float levels. And then I did notice as I was looking in the end of the carb that I've got a slight difference in number 3 and number 4 for how open the slide is, and it's not very much, but it's enough that it would make those carbs leaner than the other two. And I think on this motorcycle, number 2 is the truth, because it doesn't have any adjustment, so you have to set everything to that. But number 1 seems to be fine, and so we'll go ahead and finish this up. Alright, well, I just tried to fire her up after adjusting all the float levels and then adjusting the carburetor slides to try to get them all equal. And then I was doing some repairs on that valve tensioner, the timing chain tensioner. And so as a result, I had to pull the valve cover off to get in there to do that, and which messed up all the valve adjustments. So I've done the valve adjustment on it as well. I've had the carburetors in and out twice, and I've got all new rubber boots and an air cleaner and everything working like a factory, like it should be. And so I'm a little bit disgusted at the moment because it's not running like it was running when I shut it down. You know, I did notice that the carburetors, the needle and seats were a little bit slow to let fuel through, and I would kind of have to bump them. And I figured the fuel would lubricate the little needle in the seat and allow it to go up and down easily. I may have to pull these carburetors back out. I'm not happy about that, but it's not, I mean, it's just work. Anyway, yeah, that's so it never always goes like you think it's going to go. I put some time and effort into this thing, and it's going to run. It's going to run well by the time I'm done. But right now, it's not doing what I want it to do, and I'm a little bit, you know, it's kind of a drag. But that's fine. I'm actually thinking about pulling it off this stand. It's like when you're on the stand, you're being worked on, and when you're just, you know, when I'm just doing tuning and stuff, I should pull it off the stand and just put something else up here that deserves to be up here. I've got a big mess on the floor, and long day today of just kind of pulling the carbs off, setting those slides, and then getting it back in, and then doing the valve adjustment. Actually, not really a long day, just a few hours, but anyway, I wanted to complete this video, even though it's not like in my mind a successful completion, but I'll keep messing with it, and I'll keep you guys up to date. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you want to see me continue to suffer through this kind of work. It's something that's a reality. I mean, when you watch other shows, a lot of times everything goes so well and you think it's just the way that things always are, but they're not. I mean, we're going to learn as we go, and it's never fatal, hardly ever. That's something you can't, I always say, you know, there's no problem that you can't solve with enough money. But we don't want to do that if we don't have to. Anyway, with that, you know, this soul in this particular machine is wanting to give me some trouble, and that's the way it goes. Then I have to be able to take that and learn from it and move on. Thanks again for watching.